What's up everyone, Alex here. Persona 5 The Phantom X is finally coming to the West on June 26th, and after researching the heck out of this game, which includes player impressions from the regions it's already launched in, I wanted to break down what makes this free-to-play spin-off work, and what might hold it back. Now, I know a lot of people in the Persona community aren't exactly eager to dive into gacha games, and honestly, I get it. But the intersection here is just too fascinating to ignore. This is a Persona title, built as a mobile free-to-play experience, wrapped in gacha mechanics. That's wild. So I wanted to make this video not to convince anyone to play it, but to give fans a clear picture of what it is, how it plays, what people are saying, and what it brings to the franchise without needing to engage with the gacha, or even download the game if you don't want to. In Persona 5 The Phantom X, you take on the role of a new protagonist nicknamed Wonder, a high school student who awakens to his persona and joins a new crew of Phantom Thieves. Set in the same Tokyo as the original, the story explores the concept of distorted desires through a new app called The Ring, a mysterious digital platform that opens access to a shadowy realm where twisted cognitions run wild. As you and your team fight corruption, uncover secrets, and build new bonds, you'll navigate both the supernatural and everyday life in true Persona fashion. Before we jump into the details, it's important to acknowledge fundamental shifts in the way the game was designed. More specifically, mobile games are built with a very different philosophy than traditional console RPGs. They're designed for short bursts of play, 5 minutes while waiting in line, 10 on a lunch break, not the long immersive sessions Persona fans might be used to. That means everything, from storyline to dungeon design to relationship systems, got streamlined, automated, or broken into small, repeatable chunks. For longtime fans of the series, that shift can feel jarring, like the soul of the game is being compressed into something lighter and faster. But it's also an intentional design choice, and one that affects nearly every aspect of Persona 5X. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what the game gains and what it leaves behind. Let's get this out of the way. Some core Persona features are missing. Most notably, you won't find any demon negotiation here. Instead of talking to shadows and convincing them to join your team, personas are automatically added after battle. But on the flip side, Persona 5X retains the core combat loop that made Persona 5 feel so good. Elemental affinities, baton passes, all-out attacks, and even Persona Fusion are all here, making the game feel instantly familiar. The fights still reflect the snappy, responsive, turn-based command system of Persona 5, which is surprisingly deep for a mobile title. So while demon negotiation is gone, at least the beating heart of its combat system is still very much present. One of the criticisms from longtime players in early regions has been the inconsistent animation quality. Summons don't have the dramatic flair you might expect, and some movements can look stiff or abrupt, especially if you're coming off of something as polished as Persona 5 Royal or Persona 3 Reload after it. But despite these rough edges, the style is still unmistakably Persona 5. The menus, the soundtrack, the punk-inspired red-black aesthetic, it all feels lifted from the original game in all the best ways. Players have even said that this feels more like Persona 5 than any of the official spin-offs. So while some of the animations might not have had the same attention to detail as in mainline Persona games, its audio-visual identity is absolutely intact. Like any gacha game, monetization ramps up the deeper you go. As mentioned earlier, you'll earn personas naturally through gameplay. But if you want to recruit new party members, including cognitive versions of the original Persona 5 cast, you'll need to pull from the character gacha. More powerful weapons are also tied to a separate gacha banner, so you can start to see where the monetization layers come in. If you're looking to expand your team, tackle harder content, or keep up during limited time events, the pressure to spend gradually builds. That looming pay-to-win vibe might not be immediate, but it definitely creeps in over time. When it comes to gacha, fairness is always going to be a sticking point, especially for Western audiences. Mobile games built around randomized polls often carry the perception of being pay-to-win or manipulative. And to be fair, that reputation isn't entirely unearned. But Persona 5 The Phantom X actually does a lot to earn player trust early on. The fact that it's entirely free to play, with a generous starting banner, a pity system, and plenty of early rewards, gives it a much stronger foundation than many of its peers. It may never fully shake the skepticism that comes with the gacha label, but for fans who approach it with realistic expectations, there's real value to be found without spending a dime. When it comes to dungeon design, both palaces and mementos return in Persona 5X, but with a twist. Curiously, palaces now exist within mementos, which acts as a central hub in the metaverse. Even more surprising, mementos are no longer procedurally generated. While the move to handcrafted layouts allows for more detailed environments, it also introduces a new kind of repetitiveness. That might sound strange, considering mementos already had a reputation for feeling repetitive. But at least in the original, procedural generation meant that every floor was unpredictable. In Persona 5X, seeing the same layouts repeatedly can wear thin faster. On the plus side, safe rooms are now built into the floors themselves, so you're no longer stuck waiting until the very end of floors to recover or regroup. That said, unlike Persona 5, you can return to previous palaces in Persona 5X. The game explains this by treating them as cognitive copies of the originals. Whatever the rationale, it's a welcome addition, especially for completionists who want to revisit areas, gather missed items, or tie up loose ends. And finally, let's talk about Confidants, which have seen a major overhaul in Persona 5X. Confidants now go up to rank 20, doubling the cap from the original game's rank 10. However, only about half of those ranks include unique story events. The rest are focused on stat boosts and gameplay perks. That streamlining also affects the writing itself. Many players feel the depth and emotional nuance of Confidant stories has been scaled back, with dialogue and character development coming across as more surface level compared to the mainline series. It's a shift that suits the mobile format, but it comes with trade-offs. And while romance options are available, they've been criticized for lacking the emotional weight or narrative build-up that made relationships in the original games feel impactful. They exist, but often feel unearned or disconnected. Arcana associations are also gone, which makes the Confidant system more flexible and easier to scale. But that change also removes the Arcana-based experience bonuses during Fusion, which longtime fans might miss. As mentioned earlier, some Confidants, including certain party members, are only obtainable through gacha, tying character relationships directly to acquisition mechanics. Confidants are also no longer tied to time of day mechanics either. Instead, progressing a bond costs AP or action points, which regenerate daily or can be replenished using drinks. While this fits the game's quick pick-up-and-play structure, it also means that Confidants feel more like a grind to many players. One even noted that it took them 5 real-world months to complete their first Confidant link. This brings us back to the intentionality behind Persona 5X's design. It's built for on-the-go play. While much of the series' identity remains intact, features that typically demand longer, more focused play sessions have been streamlined or set aside. You could argue that removing demon negotiation takes away some of the charm and strategy. But when it comes to Confidants, the loss feels deeper. That's where so much of Persona's emotional weight lives, and in Persona 5X, that depth just isn't there. In the end, Persona 5 The Phantom X is a game built on trade-offs. It simplifies, it adapts, it trims the edges, but it tries to embody as much of the original game while being accessible on the go. Ultimately, your enjoyment will come down to what you personally value most in a Persona experience. If you're here for the turn-based combat, the visual identity, and a story with new characters with a fresh twist, you're gonna find a lot to like. But if what you love about Persona is the emotional weight of Confidant arcs and the deeper immersion of negotiation, this might feel too streamlined for your liking. And that duality is at the heart of Persona 5X. It invites you back into the world of Persona, but through a smaller, faster-moving experience. And because it's free to play, that window always has a price tag lurking behind it. You can enjoy a lot for free, but eventually, the game will ask you for more. Still, for a mobile spin-off, it's far better than it has any right to be. And with the Western launch coming on June 26th, maybe, just maybe, it's worth seeing for yourself. But enough of that, I want to hear what you think. Based off of what I said, do you still think you're going to be checking out Persona 5 The Phantom X? Post your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.